Okay, replacing the alternator on a 2010 Chevy Silverado. Had issues with the battery staying charged when the engine was off. If we went out of town for a few days, the battery would be dead when we came back. So determined that it was being caused by the alternator diodes went bad, and so they were not stopping the current flow from going backwards through the alternator, draining the battery. Figured that out by connecting my ammeter inline to this cable right here. This wire goes to the starter, this one goes to alternator, this one goes to systems. Barely anything drawing off the systems, just a few milliamps go into the clock and whatnot. That's not going to run the battery down. Now I was pulling maybe 200 something milliamps. That's enough that in a day or two it was going to draw it down and to where it wouldn't crank at least. And if we went out of town for a week, it'd be completely dead. So not a big deal to figure that out. I got my negative battery cable disconnected. Of course you want to do that so you don't get any damage or electrical shock. You see I've already got my old one out. Made the comparison. The size looks almost identical. Spin it around there. So don't see any major differences. That's where it came out of. That's where two large bolts went right there. You had two wires. Wire go back to the battery there. Took the bolt off, and then you got a plug right here. We'll plug back in. There's the bolts that came out. 15 millimeter heads on those. Then a little 10 millimeter that goes on the post where the cable goes back to the battery. So not a lot of work to get this guy out of there. I did have to pry it out. Pry bar is in there pretty tight. Did get a tip from another video. Said to tap these little bushings out a little bit. Give it room to drop the alternator right in there. And of course got to get the serpentine belt off first. And my tensioner right there, you can see, just put 50 millimeter on there and loosened the belt up. Came off easily. I'll do the same thing to put the belt back on. No big deal. I'm not going to show that. But it is fairly simple now to drop the alternator in place. Now that I've made that gap. Oh, sorry about that. And you can see, easily set it right in there. I'll get my cables connected. Run the bolts through there. Tighten them up. When you tighten them up, any gap in there is going to be taken out. Negative post back on, and then fire it up. No big deal. So should fix my battery going dead problem when the engine's not running. So hope this helps.